Welcome to the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation Podcast, Dualshock'd. I am one of your hosts, Brett J. Rasmussen, and over here I got my other co-host,
Spector.
And over here I got my new guy, our other co-host,
Master Blaz.
Ooh, what is going up, my guys?
No, not too much.
Not too much?
Not too much at all, yeah.
So what's been going on, guys? Talk to me. How about you, Spector? We'll begin with you. Talk to me.
Asshole, you always give me on the spot.
Of course I do. Come on now. You're here. You're with me. Talking on camera. Talking to me. Talking to the people. Talking to him.
The reason why we're here is, we're looking forward to 2019. 2018, big year for games.
Yes.
So I think there's a lot to look forward to next year. It's going to be an unusual year just because of, dynamics of what Sony's doing, not being at E3, and we're probably getting a system announced. And
we're really close to 2019 by the time of recording this. When this gets posted, it'll be 2019 by that time. Which, by the way, Happy New Year's!
Oh yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's it's a lot of interesting shit's going to happen this year. So.
I honestly think that this is probably one of the better years in gaming that I've seen in a long time. It's almost like hard to pick because it seems like everybody's just up in their game like at all times.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about for 2019 or are you talking about like what 2018 brought?
What 2018 brought going into 2019.
Oh wow, okay.
Because I think that especially this year we've seen the release. Obviously remasters aplenty, and the success of them is basically a self-fulfilling prophecy, and there's only going to be more, I feel. In addition to titles like, God of War being, one of the better ones to come out. We've got, Nier Automata was one of my personal favorites from last year. And going into 2019, it's just, it's an even higher level. And, I feel like the precipice is just getting higher, especially within the last 2 years, more than anything I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know that you're new here, Master Blaz. Tell me about yourself. Tell us about yourself.
All right.
What kind of stuff are you into? What kind of games do you like to play? That kind of stuff.
All times. But no, yeah. No, but for me, as far as games go, fighting games are probably my main go-to as far as any kind of multiplayer fun. I'm a huge fighting fanatic. I've played almost every fighting game under the sun at least once. Okay. And I own quite a few. I'm not as much into the online scene, just mainly because I just kind of grew out of that after Modern Warfare 2. And I'm more into a narrative-driven, combat-based game. So things like Bloodborne, Dark Souls, Devil May Cry, anything that has a flashy combat system, or in the case of a Souls game, a combat system that's kick-ass once you're good at it and is rewarding because of that.
Oh yeah.
Recently, I've been getting more into strategy games, which is something other than because that and sports games were always two things that I just never really got into. Yeah. And so I've been playing a lot of XCOM 2. That's one that I picked up recently, though it's not super new. Yeah. But if I haven't played it, it's new to me. And also Divinity, I've got recently. The second one I'm looking to pick up because the first one's really impressed me. Okay. Essentially just Dungeons and Dragons without the tedium of actually setting up a game.
That's rad.
And you don't have to worry about people showing up and all that.
There you go. There you go. But, so I know, Master Blaz, you weren't here for our Game of the Year, so I just kind of want to bring it back to you. Brotherhood of Geeks gave God of War Game of the Year. What would be your own Game of the Year? What would you name Game of the Year? Would you be in on that?
I definitely think that out of all the things that I've played, that God of War definitely is the standout title. And, even before it came out, it was pretty much being awarded Game of the Year before anybody even played it. And I think that obviously you could say, well, that's just the hype train, but then it came out and fulfilled, if not exceeded, anybody's expectations.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Because they adopted what I think has become the main combat mechanic for almost all games of that nature since the popularity of, Dark Souls. Mm-hmm. That third-person tactical melee combat, I think, has become a staple in almost all the games I've seen come out that have that kind of a combat system that isn't, a fighting game. There's God of War, there's the Dark Souls, there's Bloodborne, you got Biomutant coming out. Yeah.
For Honor even uses that too.
Right. Obviously with For Honor, it's a little bit more guided because it's an online game, so you have to have the indications of when you're hitting and things like that, but it's still that same kind of, because I think the reason that it resonates with players so much is because it makes you feel like it was a purely skillful win every time you defeat something. And if you combine that with a punishing difficulty, everything you do is just like, yes, sit down, I beat you. Everything I did, me, you sit down because you thought you had me. But no, not today. Because you play it long enough, and then it becomes more and more rewarding the more fluid you're able to pull off moves, because the combat systems are designed in such a way where once you master them, it's perfect. It's more realistic in the sense that you actively have to dodge or back up or, get a hit and, like, seamlessly work that into your combat as you would if you were fighting, Eldritch Abominations.
Oh, yeah. So, God of War is definitely one you would
If I
agree
had
with
to go with,
Brotherhood
if I
Beast.
had to pick any kind of runner-up for me, it would personally be Call of Cthulhu. Mainly because I have been anticipating that game for, like, 3 years now, along with The Sinking City, which should be coming out within the next year. But I love it because Lovecraft's my favorite author, and cosmic horror is pretty much my favorite genre as far as any kind of narrative game, which is why I'm such a big fan of Silent Hill and Evil Within.
Yeah,
and I personally think Call of Cthulhu shines because it's not a perfect game, but I think that it's the best representation of a Lovecraftian work, and it's one of the few direct interpretations. Because even a game like Bloodborne, that's all Lovecraft. All the creatures, like, just it's not direct like Call of Cthulhu taking a direct namesake from one of his stories, but Bloodborne is filled with just the idea of being like eldritch abominations and fighting just all of these weird creatures that definitely, there's even like a sanity aspect to it with frenzy. Like, you could just be in the presence of some of these creatures and start taking damage simply by being in their presence. And Call of Cthulhu has an amazing narrative style, and it's very narrative driven. It's basically like a semi-open world first person shooter, but you don't really, it's more about your dialogue choices. You make a choice of dialogue, and that will lead you to other dialogue choices throughout the story because you play a detective. And I really like it because in the playthrough that I'm doing now, I'm just completely letting the madness take hold of me on purpose. I'm reading all of the, I read the Necronomicon and the Malus Malistrarum, and basically, you have a sanity level, and eventually it changes. I'm at psychotic right now. I've gotten to the point where all my dialogue choices show up in Riley, and I don't even know what I'm choosing. And just to try to throw a wrench in the works, there was a point where at the point I'm at, I tried picking a dialogue option to not do something, and it didn't matter. Like, the character still was compelled to take an action because it'll pop up in the corner. Certain key decisions will be like, this will affect your destiny, because you have the option to not do certain things. So for the first playthrough, I figure I'm going to just let the madness take me, and then the second playthrough be as stalwart as possible and see how long my sanity holds.
I mean, mind you, I've never played that game.
I picked up Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, I know you were talking about that, Spector.
One of my other favorite things is the way that they try to show, because it's so hard to bring Lovecraft to any visual media because it's about creatures that are unspeakable and beyond human understanding. That's the whole thing. But their use of both sound design and their auditory and visual changes that occur during certain things, I think really it shows you what going insane would be like. Like, there's instances where there's a creature where if you look at it, your screen just starts to you can't, it's like a human not being able to fathom. How do you show that in a visual way? And so, things will just start to warp, and you'll just start panicking, and you have to just run away from certain things to maintain, your entire, vision of the screen. Otherwise, you just, I don't know what happens, because I would always run away. There's an instance
I'm assuming you're a fan of Eternal Darkness.
I actually have not yet played it, but I know all about it, and I need to play it. It's just very expensive.
It's like you said,
I didn't happen to get it when I first got my GameCube, unfortunately, and I have to pay $80 for a used copy online.
Jesus Christ!
$140 for a sealed copy.
It's tough to kind of, like we said, represent his work. It's funny enough. My introduction to Lovecraft was for a movie, In the Mouth of Madness.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's
John Carpenter is probably one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, like I said, very hard to kind of translate that to a movie, but it just one of the few examples where
it's almost like it's always a case of doing less is more. Like as much to the imagination you can leave up to the imagination when you're trying to portray something like that, the better. It's just like, seeing things. That's why, like in Japanese horror, it's all about the subtleties. Mm-hmm. It's all about the things like, did that happen? Did I just see that?
Yeah.
It's screwing with you, like in games like Fatal Frame or the Amnesia collection, where it literally will screw with like your volume, or even in Batman. When the Joker, you had to, it looked like it crashed, and it's screwing with you as the player because you'll shut your game off, but it's actually part of the game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So those are the kinds of things they'll do to be able to make you feel like you're going crazy, because that's the best way to try to interpret something that is uninterpretable.
Oh yeah. For me personally, I'm not a big horror fan, and if I've played horror games, I've played Until Dawn because I picked it up because I like the gameplay aspect, the narrative driven.
Sure, it's like a horror movie that you're a part of.
Yeah, mind you, I did get scared. Sure. I would probably consider that more of a thriller than an actual horror game.
Yeah,
because there's not a lot of blood.
Honestly, the same goes for Call of Cthulhu. It's not a true horror game, but the thing is with cosmic horror, as an example, Stephen King takes huge inspiration from Lovecraft's works, with It as an perfect example of a Lovecraftian creature, something that's just existed and comes from another dimension, and even when you look at him, you're not seeing his true form. And I think that in Call of Cthulhu, it's cool because even in the old game, Call of Cthulhu: Dark Corners of the Earth, which is really the first time someone tried to do it, they had this thing looking at you at every so often. You would be seeing from the eyes of something, and it's the whole idea of the unknown will always be more frightening than what is known. So it plays it in a very subtle way where you don't really know what is against you in this world. You just know that you eventually just find out enough to know that there's some old forgotten secret that's just literally reality is basically falling apart around you because of this realization.
Yeah. Well, Spector, I know you on our last episode you were going through some sort of saga with your games of some sort. You were dealing with some online problems with the games you were playing.
Yeah. Well, it's my own damn fault. It's a lesson learned because I know you and I are trophy nuts. I don't know if you don't get
it. Not so much.
It's fine.
Not so much.
Yeah,
I get them as I get them.
I want to say it's 5% of the player base is into trophies, and maybe 1% is
a completionist.
1% is hyper obsessed, unhealthy, in an unhealthy fashion. So that's kind of the number. So it's not a huge segment of the gaming industry, but for me, I like to get trophies on games that I really enjoy. One of those, of course, being Deus Ex.
Yeah,
that's where my name comes from, obviously. So that's kind of important to me. And I was putting the game off, referring to Mankind Divided.
Yeah,
I was putting the game off. Well, I'm going to wait until they update it for HDR, and I have my 4K TV and everything. So I'm putting it off. Oh, I'm going to wait till all the DLC's off. Just putting it off. It's going to be around for a while. The game's not even 2 years old. Yeah, blah blah blah. Put it off. Sure enough, I get to the point where I'm actually playing the damn thing, and there's an online component, and it's a familiar foe to you because microtransactions are the reason why there was an online component to that game.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What?
I would never have expected Deus Ex to have microtransactions.
Yeah, Darkness, your old friend there, microtransactions.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So, because it's the multiplayer portion of the game is 99.9% single player. The only multiplayer aspect to it is there's a leaderboard, and you can send challenges to your friends. Who fucking cares?
Wow.
But anyways, long story short, I'm kind of screwed right now, and pretty much anyone that starts the game now is kind of screwed because at a certain point, the entire mode of that game, a whole portion of the game, becomes unplayable. The servers are up, the Square Enix servers are up, but for whatever reason, there's a glitch, and the rumors are that it actually ties into some news that we were talking about before. Remember with the name change?
Oh,
they
yeah.
were updating the game. This is the rumor. This is from Reddit, so take it with a big grain of salt. The rumor is they were updating the game so it's compatible with whatever Sony's doing with names. And in the process, they broke the game a little bit.
What?
So yeah, that's the Reddit rumor right now. Nobody's confirmed it yet. So they might still update the game, but for now, I'm kind of screwed. But long story short, I'm still playing the game. It's still a fantastic game. It's just, lesson learned. I screwed myself over. Don't procrastinate.
The trophy hunter part of Spector is pissed off.
Yeah,
but
that part of me is irked a little bit, but it's like life goes on. I
Yeah,
guess.
of
But
course.
it's just like I love those games so much, and it sucks to not have that. But I mean, who knows? It might get fixed. So maybe I'm just belly aching over nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been doing. I finished up Detroit, like I said. Got the
that one I still need to play.
That's your game is fantastic.
Oh, I know.
Like I said,
I've
not
heard
even my style of games really, but really enjoyed that. I do have Call of Cthulhu on my list. I want to start playing that too. But yeah, that's
and it is chapter based.
Okay, yeah.
So literally, so when there are save points where it'll say game save, but there is chapter based. And one of my favorite little things that they do is on every new chapter, it just says Enter Madness, like when you select it.
Interesting.
Because it's really trying to like really bring, because it's directly coming from a Lovecraft story as opposed to using his elements, which even Dead Space has, like the necromorphs. Are you kidding me? Some ancient, space thing, and then the whole marker aspect where it just drives everybody crazy.
Yeah.
And then like things are just brought back to life by an alien parasite or whatever it is.
But no, Spectre, I actually had the same problem when I was finishing my platinum run of Darksiders 2, the longest game I've been playing. But I finished it, I'm done, bam. But what would happen is like,
because didn't they remove the online for Darksiders 2?
Oh yeah, no, the online's gone.
Because I know for the original Darksiders, I just looked it up because I was curious because I don't play Darksiders.
Yeah.
I've
beaten the first two; they're fantastic.
I played the first one; it was okay, but I'm like, okay, what was the trophy list like for whatever? You get bored sometimes, whatever, fuck it. So it's just I was looking at it, but I guess the original Darksiders 2 on the PS3, that one is no longer obtainable. But the one you're playing is.
Yeah, the PS4 one, because they got rid of it. But what would happen is that when you're on Earth, it's almost like a horde mode, like it's a third-person shooter kind of thing. But what would happen is that I have had multiple crashes because I would be like killing enemies, and there'd be so much stuff happening, the game would crash.
Oh, really?
So it happened multiple times.
I didn't even because I remember when I first played Darksiders, they had the Crucible. Which wasn't an online feature, but that was kind of like a wave-based mode. I had no idea that they introduced any kind of online to it because I beat it on 360, so that was a long time.
But yeah, again, I finished with that. I'm right now playing For Honor. I'm still playing that. I'm kind of playing that new Assassin's Creed Cross For Honor event, and then also about the day of Christmas or the day after, Monster Hunter just secretly out of effing nowhere. They put up some new quests, and there's an Assassin's Creed Cross Monster Hunter event where if you finish off...
I wonder why that happens all of a sudden. Like, is there any precursor to that?
No, it just showed up.
Actually, and it just happened to happen in two completely unrelated games.
Yeah, I have no idea. But one of my friends sent me a picture going dude, you can get an armor set of Ezio, which gives you stealth. The monsters can't really see you, and then if you attack an enemy, a monster from stealth, you do extra damage. And then you can also get an armor set of Bayek from Assassin's Creed Origins. So
very nice.
I'm gonna need to go into that, but let's go ahead and move on into our next segment, which is News of the Nation.
Very exciting.
I know. I'm
very excited.
I'm glad.
I felt that.
Awesome.
Felt
Good.
that
I'm glad.
Oh, you didn't let me cue up the sound effect.
Oh!
What the hell, man?
Let's see.
Hold on.
News.
Thought you were good at this.
Yeah, I know. I was random, but you're doing
This guy has sunglasses on. He doesn't even have the sound effect.
Come on, Spectre. Soundboard man.
Oh my god.
Soundboard man.
Troubles. Technical difficulties.
Let's see here. Breaking news sound effects.
Do it.
Let's try it out here. So fucking.
Do you have it on mute on the thing?
Oh my! You know what? It might be still on headset mode.
Oh.
Okay, never mind. You got a computer too.
Use your imaginations.
Exactly. Yeah. But anyway, News of the Nation. This is where we talk about all the news topics that have been happening over the past week or two, because we've been gone for a bit. It's the holidays. So let's go ahead and get right on into this. So first and foremost, on New Year's Day, January 1st, we're going to be getting our free games for January. This is not it. I apologize. Because that is December. That's not January.
Yeah, January. Oh, they can keep them. Free's about the right price for him.
Free's about the right price for them. Jesus, man. I apologize. Wow, I pulled this up and everything is going crap. So hold on. We're just going to go ahead and pull this up. Do it live.
It adds to the homey nature.
I'm aware.
Technical difficulties happen to everybody.
No, I know. Here we go.
All right.
I don't know why I didn't have
It's like we're NPR here. Like it just like
Well, I mean,
amateur hour.
I mean, obviously NPR went places, so I mean,
So yeah. All right. So as I said before, these are going to be the new games that you are going to be getting on in January for PlayStation Plus. So the 2 free games that you get on the PS4 is Steep and
that's sick.
and Portal Knights. Those are the 2 free games you get on your PS4. These will be available from January 1st to February 5th of 2019.
those aren't even worth adding to my library. It's like,
Wow,
it's
really?
like-
Well, that's why I just bought extra memory, so I never have to empty my library. I still got plenty of downloaded games I haven't even touched, but you know what? They're there for when I want to touch.
Well, I just go ahead and add them to my library, and then if I want to go,
That's
into
exactly,
them, that's
yeah.
what I do.
Like, you don't lose anything by just throwing them in there. I'm actually, that's Steep being free. I actually wanted, because SSX has always been one of my favorite games. And the only gripe I had with the most recent one that they came out with for 360 PS3 was that there was no local multiplayer, which even the GameCube edition had, and I still don't understand it. But outside of that, it was fantastic. And
Yeah.
Steep is probably the only other game that would be comparable to SSX, but probably not as over the top. But I can live with that because it's free. Portal Knights I've heard of, but I've actually never tried. It seems interesting, but I probably, now that it's free, I might as well give it a shot.
Yeah, the synopsis we have for first we have this is from the PlayStation blog. First we have Steep. The mountain is yours to explore in this massive open world sports game. Drop into the most epic mountains and ski, wingsuit, snowboard, and paraglide your way to victory. This game is for those looking for a little excitement for this winter season. Next up, we have Portal Knights. Step into this fantastic and unknown and the delightful action RPG. You can explore alone or team up with up to 3 other friends in cooperative multiplayer. This is the delightful romp of a game that is sure to please many of you. So these are the 2 games you get for the PS4. Then, these are going to be the games for the PS3 and Vita. So you're going to be getting, we're going to be getting Zone of the Enders HD collection on the PS3. That's rad. And Amplitude, which is on the PS3. And then for the Vita, we're going to be getting Fallen Legion, Flames of Rebellion, which is also cross-buy to the PS4, and Super Mutant Alien Assault on the Vita. And then they have some extra stuff.
I love it when the description is right in the title.
Oh, yeah. But these are going to be all the games that you're going to be getting for free in January. So again, I always recommend, even if you don't care or don't like them, add them to your library. They're totally free, cost nothing, and if you ever want to try them out, you can just download them, because as long as you have PlayStation Plus, you can do that. I know you're just over there hating all this, Spector.
It's whatever. I mean, sometimes you lose them. Last month was great. Like I said, Soma is fantastic.
Yeah.
You would love that game if you haven't played that.
Yeah, I saw the. I haven't heard much about it other than I saw it as a bundled VR game.
Same guys who made Amnesia.
Oh, okay. Because I actually have the Amnesia collection downloaded. I still got to get into that.
It's Amnesia, but like sci-fi horror.
Sounds right up my alley.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think full price for that game was worth every penny.
Oh, good to know.
So yeah. Next we have, this is actually something, this is for Marvel Spider-Man. So in a recent patch update around Christmas also, in a free patch, everyone in the community for Marvel Spider-Man has been asking, begging, pleading, screaming at Insomniac to put in the Sam Raimi suit from the original Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, absolutely, sure.
And they finally put it in. It's called the Webbed suit. I never call it that. It's the Sam Raimi suit.
Sure.
But it doesn't have any special powers. But pretty much it's a free DLC with the newest patch that they put in to it. And it came out pretty much a day before Silver Lining, which is the new DLC that just came out, which finishes the City That Never Sleeps Season Pass, and those 3 DLC packs pretty much give you the rest of the story that leads into whatever the sequel will be for Marvel Spider-Man 2, whatever they call it.
Spider-Man's.
I
mean, with the new movie and the fact
dude, I saw it just to go.
I still have to see it, but like I feel like because of its popularity, from what I've heard,
Into the Spider-Verse is so good.
I wouldn't doubt that either they'd base the game solely off of that, and being able to, because we had Shattered Dimensions, and that was kind of a dip toe into that kind of idea, and I think that especially. I mean, we saw how popular the idea of including all those alternate costumes was in Spider-Man, and I feel like Into the Spider-Verse already is a marketable game title. I wouldn't be surprised if they also use that comic book style, and or maybe Telltale's just going to take Spider-Man and finally get off their asses and make another game.
Yeah, but like again, I'm glad that it's there, and we finally got it. It actually really definitely does look like from. I know there's some people like nitpicking at it still. I'm like,
well, how realistic? I mean, you're putting it into in something that it was never meant to be in, like at the time it was made. So you got to take make it look like realistic enough for the graphics that it's basically being put into. Yeah. And it's like, I mean, if you look at like the old Spider-Man cartoon as an example, that was the original suit, but it was in a flat 2D space.
But they put that suit into this game too, and it's a shell. It's shell shaded. It's the 1970s suit. Shell shaded. Shell shaded.
Shell shaded.
Shell. I know that you have already gotten rid of the game. You played it, platinumed it, that kind of thing. So I know for you, Spector, this is like
I played like 10 minutes of it, and I mean to pick it up.
It's great. I personally, it was my personal game of the year next to God of War. God of War was number one.
We need more Warhammer games.
Yeah.
Keep going.
But yeah, next, this is definitely very interesting. The director Sean Levy steps away from Tom Holland's the Uncharted movie. This Uncharted movie has been going on for years. I think they wanted to have Mark Wahlberg to play Nathan Drake, and then they got Tom Holland in for it to play young Drake, and that's where they wanted to, instead of old man, where Drake is currently.
Tom Holland, isn't he like?
Well, it's kind of
he's like 15 years old.
Yeah, so this would be young. So like in Uncharted 3.
Well, it's kind of like with the Tomb Raider movie that came out and basically was going off of the fact that because already the pre-existing Tomb Raider games, in addition to the fact that essentially Nathan Drake being a male Lara Croft, like the 2018 Tomb Raider movie showed her as a younger person, because that's what the games have been dealing with. And I feel that because Uncharted has only ever dealt with him in his matured form, that there's a lot of license you could have to go into different story arcs with his younger self and how he got to that point.
The problem is that the Uncharted movie...
He looks like he's like 15.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's older than that, but like he plays Peter Parker in the newest Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's in Homecoming and
he's in Far From Home. But hearing
22.
About
he doesn't look like he looks like 17.
Mind you, that's the point. Which I love Tom Holland. Tom Holland is fantastic. But Sean Levy, who was going to direct the Uncharted movie, has now stepped away because the film Free Guy has gotten the green light, so he's going to be directing that movie instead of doing this. That's why he stepped away. And now they're they're now searching for a new director. They've been looking for a director to do this for years. And me personally, I would love to see an Uncharted movie, but I'm like, guys, if you can't lock this down,
be careful what you wish for, though. I mean, every video game movie is universally terrible. They're all panned by every critic, by every audience. Basically.
That's what I'm saying is I honestly don't want this.
I honestly thought the Tomb Raider movie wasn't bad. The newer one.
I didn't see the Tomb Raider.
It wasn't
movie.
bad.
It was okay.
It was a solid action.
It was solid.
It was as good as I think it could have been. Honestly,
Rampage is better.
That one I still haven't seen. That one did look interesting, though. I feel like it's still funny they picked Rampage to make a movie with, though.
It's great.
I had my heart broken twice by Silent Hill movies. I just don't...
I didn't think the first one was that bad.
Oh, it was...
But compared to the second one, it's great.
Yeah, I thought they were both just...
I just love seeing Pyramid Head on big screen because he's one of my favorite all-time video game monsters.
Yeah.
They didn't even get his look right. I mean, it looks nothing like what he looks like in the actual game. It doesn't make sense for him to be there. It's just I'm not a fan of those movies, but I mean, and really, the only video game movie I ever kind of liked was Mortal Kombat, I think.
Oh, the original '90s movie.
Yeah, that was just kind of
movie.
fun, goofy nonsense.
The sequel was atrocious.
Yeah, but it's just like
they replaced literally every actor in the movie with a different actor from the first movie.
Yeah,
you couldn't have done that much worse.
yeah.
I guess.
But like this movie has been in talks and circulation since 2009, and it has been continuing to be delayed. So like this movie has been
coming up on 10 years tomorrow.
Oh my god, it's like. Levy did say that this movie there were other movies that like he was slated for, which he told the playlist back in August that Uncharted was closer to production than any of his other films that he was slated for, but now he has left because Free Guy has now been greenlit by 20th Century Fox. So I mean, me personally, I'm just like, this movie's been going. They've been trying to make this movie work for far too long. This movie is in development hell, and I love Assassin's Creed. It's one of my personal favorites, and even when I saw the Assassin's Creed movie, I personally had a good time with it.
Yeah, it was solid. It was solid.
But I do understand why a lot of people have gripes with it, because it's just the past day is the action scenes and the present day is the exposition. There is no mixture. There is that's why I have my own problems with the Assassin's Creed movie. So I don't know.
Plus, I really think that if they could have, they should have gone with the story of Desmond as opposed to making an entirely new guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
If it would have been possible. I'm sure there was a reason, but...
I mean, at least he had a good actor in that one.
So Michael Fassbender, absolutely.
He loved that. He wanted this to happen. He was like, I want to be in this movie.
He's pretty good in pretty much everything he's in. I mean, I'm not an Assassin's Creed fan. I didn't see the movie, but... I mean, I don't know. Just by the strength of the actor, I guess that would be.
Jeremy Irons played the lead.
And that's right, Jeremy Irons. He's fantastic.
I
kind of want to watch this movie now. I mean, I haven't. I don't care about Assassin's Creed, but I like.
It's fine. It's fine, but there are problems with it, even for me as an Assassin's Creed fanatic. I'm because I don't care about Aguilar, and when Aguilar shows up,
he was just made for the movie. He's like Count Dooku in Episode 3. They just shoehorned him in. Because up until that point you'd never heard of him.
Yeah, well, and then Aguilar he's just there for the action scene. So when there's a part at the very end with him and Maria, you just oh cool.
Yeah, I felt that the worst part of the movie was the end. Really, it felt like there was no climate. There was no it didn't lead up to.
There was nothing in there that made me go, oh, I can't wait for another one.
You got to have a good climax.
Yeah, exactly.
But so yeah,
in all aspects of life.
In every aspect. There you go.
But moving along.
Yes. I believe that's all I have. It's been very, very slow for. I mean, mind you, we're getting.
It's that time of the year, though.
Mm-hmm. We're getting near to the end of the year. Just a few other things. In Jump Force, they have now added Izuku Midoriya from My Hero Academia into Jump Force.
Oh, there's a shocker.
Of course.
Is that the Animu game?
Yeah, it's a.
I still haven't watched any of my because I'm an anime fan myself. I literally hear nothing about how everybody keeps telling me to watch My Hero Academia.
Yes, you do. Yes,
I'm sure it's good, and I have no doubt that it's good.
Oh my god, it's my favorite.
I'm excited that finally One Punch Man season 2 is coming out, but I'm concerned because it's a different animation director, and I really hope they don't screw it up.
Yeah, because
the first was incredible.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely very much a slow. One. I do have one last piece of news. That this is pretty much the games and game services that had the most downtime in the year of 2018. This also comes from IGN News. Downtector, which is a site that pretty much is able to kind of read what's going online, online activity, that kind of stuff. But Downtector revealed data on which games and services had the most downtime due to online outages in 2018. So that means because of overplay stuff, it died.
Almost like a DDoS thing.
Yeah. Fortnite experienced the most downtime of any game in 2018, followed by PUBG, Rainbow Six Siege, Pokemon Go, and Call of Duty. The PSN experienced more downtime than Xbox Live throughout the whole year. Other online services also suffered from outages, with Battle.net having the most downtime, followed by Uplay, Steam, and Origin. From IGN's disclosure is that Downtector is owned and operated by Ookla LLC, which is a parent company that owns IGN. So, just to let them know, so that kind of thing. But yeah, like, I'm not surprised because Fortnite is the most popular game, period.
Yeah.
I like to add Deus Ex Mankind Divided on there as an honorary member of that.
An honorable mention. An honorable mention.
I'm just going to put that right there.
Even though it's still technically up, we can't access it, so it may as well be down.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
If I can't play it, it's down.
But yeah, like, for me, I don't really play online games like that, but I haven't had any problems. I played
World War II a little bit recently, but they have their own issues, even though it's been out for 2 years. Mm-hmm. But that's just like the rare occasion where I really have a fix to play like an because it's gotten to the point where I so rarely play like an online FPS that it's almost novel to play it again because I play nothing but like narrative driven or combat or fighting.
Yeah. I mean, like, I played Destiny 2 during the October event.
Yeah.
Because my friends pulled me into
Destiny 2 is probably if I had to pick the best current shooter out would probably be Destiny 2, just because I think that the story and like the procedurally generated weapons and things of that nature are fun, but it's not enough to keep me coming back.
I have my own problems with Destiny 2, but they have when Forsaken came out.
You know what? For me, it comes down to the fact that I get to use a sword, and any game that lets me use a sword where there's also guns is a good game for that reason.
But
that's just me, though.
A lot of or like from January into like March, I believe I was playing Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter was
yeah,
amazing.
I still need to get on that.
So much time on that.
I need to get on it.
But I had like no online problems.
And Monster Hunter is another example of that tactical third-person melee combat.
I think the only real like online games I played this year were like, this is before my boycott. Keep in mind, Battlefield 1 and Battlefront 2. So,
yeah,
I mean, which both worked more or less okay, but like I said, no longer relevant because fuck EA and I'm done with them.
Yeah. No, I don't know. Yeah, has a lot of stuff to fix. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, with that, there's like that. I never experienced anything like that. Do you guys have any news you want to bring up? Anything from you, Spector?
No, I'm ready to.
Yeah, I think you pretty much covered it.
All right then. Well then, let's go ahead and get into the main topic. It is now 2019 when this video goes up. And we are excited for a lot of different games that are coming out in 2019.
It's going to be a good year.
So the way we're going to do this is that each of us have our own. We're going to begin with me, then Master Blaze, and then Spector. And we're going to kind of go through our list of what games that we're most excited for in 2019. So to begin with me, one of the games that I'm definitely most looking forward to is Days Gone. This is the game that was... Why? I mean, for me, like, it is definitely mind you, it is another post-apocalyptic game, but I definitely...
About zombies.
Oh, it's another zombie game, which... But I am definitely looking forward to this game, because this is made by, I believe, not Ready at Dawn, this is made by Sony Bend. There we go. Sony Bend. I knew it was like a smaller studio. Sony Bend is making Days Gone, which has made fantastic games in the past, especially on the Vita. Like they did the Uncharted Golden Abyss game, which I love that game on my Vita. But Days Gone, I'm definitely looking forward to because there's a lot of stuff that I don't know about the game, but the gameplay aspect that they showed at E3. Not this year, but last year, or I believe it was PSX. One of the most recent conventions, they kind of showed like actual gameplay of Days Gone, and it looks definitely very different. And there's a lot of different aspects to it that they've taken from like there's an open world aspect, and there's like you can make traps and you can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that the only reason anybody would... I mean, because I don't know a lot about it. You probably know more than I do, but it definitely looks like one of the more interesting games of its kind that is going to be coming out in 2019. Yeah. I think that State of Decay 2 left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think that would be one of the main reasons people may be apprehensive for a game that kind of falls into the same category. Mm-hmm. But I think that the gameplay was the main issue. And since I feel that's going to be not the case in this game, that it definitely should be given a chance.
Yeah, because I'm just kind of going through the synopsis. Deacon St. John, who is played by Sam Witwer, which I love him. He's a fantastic voice actor actor. He's great. He's a former outlaw turned drifter and bounty hunter who prefers life on the road to wilderness encampments. The game takes place 2 years after a global pandemic occurred, which kills almost all of humanity and transforms millions of others into freakers. That's like the mindless zombie-like creatures in the game. And that's about it. We've seen gameplay, we've seen trailers, but there's not enough for us to know what the story is. And that intrigues me personally.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea, too, because it makes you anticipate what, how are they going to put a unique spin on, obviously, something that's been done in general.
Yeah, and I've played, Sony Ben games, and they have definitely done a good job. And I don't know. One of the things, this does feel a little bit like Order 1886, a little bit. Mind you, I personally love Order 1886, but I know that's a game that I'm in a very small boat for that game. And that's because we didn't really know much about that game. It was a lot of people were excited about that game because of the potential it had.
Sure.
Because it was in 1886 during
kind of like a steampunky.
Yeah. Mind you, people were upset about it is that there's more cinematics than there are gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, the most thing I've heard is just people would complain that it's too on rails. It's more like playing a movie than a game. But then again, like with Call of Cthulhu, you could argue the same thing, and I still think it's a great game. I think that at the end of the day, if a story is good enough, it doesn't matter how it's told.
Yeah, I mean, the story is there's nothing too absolutely interesting. They didn't change anything, but the way that I could best describe it is, and I've said this before, is that Order 1886 is a fantastic first act to a story.
Sure.
The story hasn't been finished yet, so I would personally love to see if they would do an Order 1887 or whatever they would call it.
I would hope it wouldn't be 1886 too.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think that's ever going to happen because that game did not do well. I would personally like to see. Sony has definitely taken chances with that, and they've said, "All right, go ahead and make another one."
On that note, that would probably make a good movie.
Yeah, but mind you, that's kind of the whole point is when they made it. The whole game is widescreen. The top two bars of Order 1886 to that. So bringing it back to Days Gone. The reason why I related to Order 1886 is because there's a lot of stuff about that game that we don't know about. So, I will say Sony hasn't been putting that out and marketing it a lot. Mind you, we've got God of War and Marvel Spider-Man, and then we also have to get Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding. So there's a lot of games that are in PlayStation's library that they have to push. But I'm surprised that they're not marketing Days Gone as much. So that I definitely do find a bit interesting why they haven't been doing that. I don't know. What do you got? Anything you want to talk about Days Gone, Spector?
No, I think it looks incredibly bland. I don't see the appeal of it. I will be passing on this game.
I just don't know enough about it. I think that if it comes out, I'm going to see kind of how it turned out, and then I'll make my decision on whether or not it's worth a playthrough.
Yeah,
I like to give games the benefit of the doubt, and I don't base everything off of simply trailers because there's been plenty of instances where a trailer is not indicative of a game's quality on either end of the spectrum.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. There's just nothing that appeals to me about this game. I don't know.
And that's fair.
And that's fine. Again, so next, moving on. The next game that I'm definitely looking forward to this is a big one that everyone's looking forward to, is Kingdom Hearts 3. I cannot wait for Kingdom Hearts 3.
I already got my pre-order.
Oh my god.
Collector's edition and all.
Oh my god, I cannot wait for that. Kingdom Hearts 3, I
feel like you almost don't... I mean, almost everybody knows what Kingdom Hearts is. It's almost like barely needs an introduction at this point.
I can't. It's just the playing 2.8 and playing the Birth by Sleep 0.2, the little intro kind of gives you a taste of the gameplay aspect of what Kingdom Hearts 3 is, and then you see all the trailers and everything,
and it just looks great. Even the visual overhaul is more than you could have hoped for.
But it still feels like it still feels like, even though it's the animation has been overhauled for modern era, but it still looks like it came from its time. It's just much more polished. I love it.
Plus all of the other IPs that now get to be included because Disney's pretty much has a monopoly on the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a Star Wars level in it.
I would lose my mind if that would be the case.
Because they could do it.
Oh my god! And like they've done pirates. They've done pirates.
And
so like
we see Jack Sparrow looks like a real human.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! I'm so glad they're going back to that game. Oh my god! I can't wait for that.
Fantastic.
I mean, I could go ahead and go on and on. I love it. I love it that. So where where Dream Drop Distance ends is that Yin-Sid tells Sora that you have to go ahead and go back to Olympia because you have to meet a hero who has also lost his powers, just like Sora because of what happened in Dream Drop Distance.
Yep.
He's talking about Hercules.
Of course.
So the game begins with him being in Olympia, and we saw the trailers of like Sora fighting the Titans, with like him running up walls and like the Titans throwing stuff, and then like he summons the freaking like the amusement rides to fight. Like, oh my god!
You know what? One thing that I do hope they include in there, even though it's probably not going to be, because I am a huge fan of Tron. And I feel like because not a lot of people thought Legacy was the best movie ever, because I really like it.
Oh, you want to see them?
I want to see another Tron level.
But they already did Tron. They did Tron in 2.
Right, but they also already did like I mean, I suppose I feel like something is bound to be repeated. I mean, in Kingdom Hearts 3. Do you think that they're not going to take anything from the original 2 games? And
I mean, we're already getting Olympia, and
because that would be a good example then, because Hercules was also in 2.
Yeah.
So like if they're bringing him back, I feel like I think it'd be cool because of the aesthetic of Tron with all the new graphics and what you could do, like a light cycle race or something.
Yeah, and
that's just a personal.
And I don't think we've seen all of the worlds in the game, because we've seen Toy Story, Monsters Inc., Tangled. Pirates of the Caribbean, Frozen, like a bunch of them. Big Hero 6. Yeah, Big Hero 6. That one looks rad. That could be like your Marvel one.
Probably.
You can count that as your Marvel one.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that game looks so
All I'm saying
good.
is, if they do Star Wars, they better have like a lightsaber keyblade.
Oh, please!
Something akin to that.
Oh, please! That's what I want. Spector over here is going, I don't care.
No, I really like Kingdom Hearts. I would hate to see Star Wars involved in this. I know what would happen. They would shoehorn in new Star Wars.
Oh, you think it would be like Kylo Ren and Rey instead of Darth Vader?
All the new ones that we don't,
probably.
All the new characters we don't like, and from all the new movies we don't like.
Jar Jar.
I don't know though, because
they would probably they would have Jar Jar Binks and Rey doing like a waltz together before they'd even think of adding.
No, I honestly disagree. If they did do a Star Wars, I honestly think they would do Episode 4. They would do Episode 4 because like they didn't do Dead Men Tell No Tales. They didn't bring in like they're not doing that. It's in Kingdom Hearts 3. It's At World's End. That's the movie that's the story that they're doing in Kingdom Hearts 3, which is like years old. I don't think they would do that. I honestly think
I guess it's possible. I
get where you're coming.
Anything
at.
Star Wars related, they just ruin. It's just, that's just Disney's way. But yeah, no, I'm not like falling out of my chair excited like you guys are about it. But I am looking forward to. I'll pick it up. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the original 2 on PlayStation 2. I dabbled in some of the many spin-offs.
I never played any of the spin-offs because I didn't have any mobile devices that would play them at the time, so I just played through the first 2 on PS2.
Mind you, now you can because they have...
That's true.
There's...
but I figure I'll just wait and play 3.
Yeah.
And then if I have any questions, I can go back because, as we know, Kingdom Hearts has like the most convoluted storyline of all time.
Oh yeah. Like,
There's so many characters and facets and people with the same name that are different people... seemingly, and different versions of people, and I mean it's great. It's still great. Like it's a good story, but it's just like there's so many things to keep track of if you want to understand what's actually happening in that game.
Oh yeah, like it's.
But the best part about it is that it's still a fun game, even if you don't know the every in and out of the storyline.
I mean, it's going to be a fun game, but when it comes to the narrative, this is the one that culminates everything.
Right.
So this, this is one of those things where I'd go, you kind of have to go back and play. Or at least watch a YouTube video of anyone on the internet, like...
Or maybe they'll go like what Gears of War did and have like almost like a cinematic video that recaps the first 2 games for those who haven't played it.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, that's kind of what they do with like the opening with Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 1, all the other ones.
So
they
I feel like
the
there'd
opening
probably be
does
something like that.
The opening theme. Oh, I love it.
I still haven't heard the newest one.
Oh man, it's so good.
I mean, obviously the first 2 were amazing because Utada Hikaru is amazing.
She's back to do the theme, so it's
Well, thank
it's
goodness.
fantastic.
You couldn't have anybody else.
It's so good. But yeah, so you're definitely going to be picking it up, Spector? I know you are, Master Blaze.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'll pick it up. Yeah.
Sweet. And then my third pick would be Crash Team Racing Nitro Field. I lost my mind. I lost my mind over that one. Oh god, that one's so definitely good.
I mean, I personally would definitely give it a shot. I've never played any of the Crash racing games myself. Mainly just because racing games in general hadn't always been my thing, other than Mario Kart and Burnout. Those are probably the 2 main ones, but I think that a new kart racer of that nature on the PS4, I want to just pick up simply because I want a kart racer on the PS4, as opposed to a game that I have to play single player and it's a racing game, which seems to be the trend in gaming now, is the elimination of local multiplayer in all but fighting games.
Oh yeah. Spectre, what do you think, my man?
I'm a big Crash fan. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, obviously not the same level of excitement as I had for the Insane Trilogy. But yeah, no, I didn't play Crash Team Racing all that much when it first came out.
Really?
Originally. It just kind of one of those games that was lost in the shuffle. But yeah, no, I'm very much looking forward to it. Day one buy for me easily.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
what intrigues you about CTR? Because you didn't play it back in the day.
I played it, but not nearly as frequently as I did the other games. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking for kind of. I mean, I haven't had a good like kart racer game in a while. I haven't really.
That's what I'm saying.
I have a Switch.
Like, it's just been so long.
Yeah, I
don't
have
own
a
a Switch. So
I have a Switch, but I haven't really touched like Mario Kart or anything like that. So it'd be nice to just do something different like that for a while. So yeah, give it a shot.
I was surprised. I honestly did not see that coming when they were like teasing it. When they started teasing it. Like, did you see that, Master Blaze? The way they teased it is that like IGN and a few other media outlets got these like orange dice. One of them had 6 on all the dice,
okay,
and then the other one was a normal 6-sided dice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
If you the one of them is just 6, so that's one number, which is 6. And the other one, if you add up the rest of the numbers, gave the date, which is June 23rd.
Oh, that's...
And then, like, seeing at the Game Awards, which I know you saw that, Spectre. We kind of talked about it on our reaction, what we thought about it, about that. So, I mean, like, you lost your mind, too, when they announced it at...
Oh, well, yeah, no, I was very excited to see. I mean, I knew it was coming because of the teaser and everything, so it was kind of spoiled like most things are nowadays. But yeah, it was. I'm very excited for it. I will, like I said, it's a day one buy for me.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. All right, so Master Blaze, what do you got for us, my man?
My top 3, I definitely got to start with Ghost of Tsushima. That's I believe that it was announced at E3. Obviously the latest E3 that occurred, and it's an open world feudal samurai game. Which, in addition to the fact that that's just badass to start with, if you haven't seen a trailer for this game, I highly recommend looking it up because it is honestly a piece of art. Like, Ghost of Tsushima has some of the most amazing graphical, like it's gorgeous.
Oh my god!
It's really insane.
God.
And the combat too. Like, I mean, there was one like combat trailer that I saw, and I feel like this is the one thing, as a side note, that Assassin's Creed really screwed the pooch on, is never getting into feudal Japan. And
yeah, I don't like everyone's asking for it, and I don't know why they haven't done it.
It like, think about it. It's a game about assassins and a ninja. Like, I mean, what the connection there would have been so easy. But even though this isn't ninja but samurai, and it takes place during the Mongolian invasion, and it's like I believe like the 1500s. During the E3 trailer too, they had this guy come up and do like flute music.
Oh yeah!
And I thought that was just such an awesome way to immerse you into the atmosphere of the game. They showed this beautiful panning shot of just like this wheat field or something, or like a rice field, just running through on his horse, the way the wind just naturally, it looks so amazing. And it's going to be narrative driven. And I just feel like it just looks like such an amazing experience.
For me, what happened? This is honestly one of the best. Like when the announcement trailer for this game was at Paris Games Week 2017. 2017. And what happened is that they at Paris Games Week they were like showing off like Shadow Colossus stuff like that. But then here comes Ghost of Tsushima. And they show off the trailer. So it just goes Sony Entertainment. America Presents, and then they show the trailer, and I'm like, oh, okay, this looks cool. Samurais, okay, this looks rad, this looks good. But what got me, and so they go ahead and do everything, and then they go Ghost of Tsushima, and I'm like, oh, this looks rad, this looks really good. But what got me going, I'm excited for this game, is that they showed the game, showed the name of the game, and at the very end they went Sucker Punch. Which does the infamous games, which I adore those games. So, and that's honestly one of the best ways, because if they went Sucker Punch, I would if that's kind of like for people like me who know developers and know like their history and what they've done and like that kind of thing. Showing that at the end, not in the beginning, allows me to go, oh, this game looks, because now I'm excited for the game itself because of the developer, not, oh, this rad developer is making this game. So now, like, do you understand what I'm saying?
It was more of a punctuation at the end, like almost like a sucker punch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. How about you, Spector? I know you've talked about Ghost of Tsushima. That was like the one game from E3 that you were like, yeah, I can get behind this.
One of the few, yeah. Like I said, it's a game that I really want a lot more information about first, before I really like go gaga over it, because I was making comparisons to. Not to throw shade at the game, but it's just I was making comparisons to Order 1886, and I know you just were talking about that, but not a favorable comparison. Like I said, Order 1886, we saw the trailer, it looked great, looked amazing, and it came out, and it was, I know you liked it, but it was not well received.
No,
and I'm afraid something similar might happen with this game, where. It's a good developer, but I wouldn't say a great developer.
I feel like the only reason that I'm really like hopeful that because like the trailers that have come out since the original trailer showing off the combat and kind of like I saw one where it showed kind of like a mission taking place and dialogue exchange, and I just feel like from that and just the fighting mechanics of it, which are a big deal for me in a game such as that I really think that it's going to be something special. Yeah. Like, if nothing else, it's going to be a visual treat. Like, the game is just literally a piece of art.
Yes.
It's just like Shadow of the Colossus is a piece of art.
Now, mind you, this is actually one of the games that doesn't have an actual date.
Right.
This is a game that, like, this game exists. This is being made, but it doesn't have an actual date. It doesn't even have a year. It doesn't say 2019. It's just coming soon. Do you guys honestly think that this game is a 2019 game, or do you think this is them kind of continuing the tease, and we're going to see Last of Us Part 2 first before Ghost of Tsushima?
I think that Last of Us 2 will come out before Ghost of Tsushima. I think that is definitely possible for a late 2019 release, if not early 2020. And I think that, even if I say it's my most anticipated because it hasn't been given a date, but we know it's been in development, that if it does come out in 2019, I definitely think that is a possibility.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, I'm not going to be disappointed, because a game of that nature needs all the, I want them to take as much care and time to make it exactly what I envisioned it's going to be.
Because normally, when Sony announces their games, it's kind of like, even God of War was announced in 2016. It took 2 years for that game to come out. That's kind of been a lot of their games. Like what we saw at the gameplay demo at E3 2016. It looks like it's similar to a part in the actual game that came out.
Right.
So, honestly, I don't know.
I hope it's given enough time in the oven.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I agree. It's like Miyamoto says, a bad game is bad forever. And I'd rather people take more time with a game and release a good game.
Oh, yeah.
So if it doesn't come out until 2020,
that's
whatever,
fine.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it's a game that
but I still can anticipate it during 2019.
There you go.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So but yeah, no, I need to see more about it. But yeah, I don't want to get another Order 1886.
No, I
So.
understand.
I feel like it won't be that though. I mean, from the gameplay I've seen, it just doesn't seem like it really pushes the whole open world aspect.
I think for you, Spector, the reason why you're like very on the fence about it is because of Infamous, and I know Infamous is more of a superhero game for you, and we already know because of like you played Spider-Man, and like superhero games are not really your thing.
They're not really my thing, but I think Infamous is just very. I don't want to get a rant on Infamous, but I mean, I just feel like they're very bland games.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're not really like bad or good. They're very middle of the road, milquetoast.
Okay.
Pedestrian adventure games. And I mean, they're not bad. I mean, they're fun, but they're not like memorable to me. I could not tell you anything about what happened in Infamous.
I played a little bit of Infamous. I mean, for me, the type of game that stands out the most would be Prototype. Which would be my pick for that kind of. Other than Hulk Ultimate Destruction, GameCube. But yeah, Prototype and Prototype 2 I beat, and Infamous I think falls in the same vein of that, sandbox kind of superhero-esque game where you're just given a bunch of ability and you can just kind of play around in the cities.
Yeah. So yeah, well, what do we got next, Master Blaze?
For me, my next one would let's see. You said Kingdom Hearts.
Yep.
And we got CTR.
Yep.
Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice.
There you go. Ooh, yeah.
And that's another one I already have fully paid off. It's another title from Software, who did Bloodborne and the Souls games. And I'm just excited because I really like the attention to detail that From Software puts into their games. And in addition to being a huge fan of Bloodborne, I like Dark Souls as well, but Bloodborne just does it for me because the combat system's a little bit more, has more depth to it with the trick weapons as well as the Lovecraftian influence, and that's just a personal thing. But with Sekiro, I'm super excited because it's going to bring that really polished combat system, the attention to visual detail, and the amazing, creatures and characters that have always been a part of their games, but for the first time really ever, as far as I know of the games that I played, it's going to have a really like a story-driven narrative. And, and there are stories in both Dark Souls and Bloodborne, but they're vague on purpose. It's like, it's left up to the people to try to put
It's about
together.
the world. You're not being told, like, all right, you do this thing, kill this guy.
Right, you're not
this.
involved in a narrative.
Like,
really.
like you're going through. There is a narrative, but like it's not being told to you.
Right,
It's all
you
got to
like read the descriptions.
Yeah,
of
it's
items
being told throughout the lore
thing.
of like.
I remember they offered like a $10,000 reward for anybody who could correctly figure out the actual story of Dark Souls when it first came out.
Oh,
they had a sweepstakes where they literally offered $10,000 to anybody who could like correctly figure out the lore of the world. I don't know if anybody ended up winning. But with Sekiro, it's going to be in, again, like a feudal Japan, but with some embellishments, kind of like Neo did, where it's in feudal Japan, but it has more of the mystical aspect of feudal Japan. And you play as, you're basically a ninja, and it has a lot to do with like ninjas being involved in the main storyline, and you have to basically help this boy reach some kingdom or something. I haven't gotten there's not a lot of detail on it, but that's as much as I've gathered.
I pulled up the synopsis for it. The game takes place in reimagined late 16th century Sengoku period Japan. In it, the player takes control of a shinobi who was left for dead after his lord was kidnapped and his arm severed by a leading samurai of the Ashina clan. The shinobi awakens to find that his missing arm has been replaced with a prosthetic by a mysterious bushi, who dubs him Sekiro, or the one-armed wolf. Armed with a katana and the prosthetic, which allows for various tools and gadgets to be installed on it, he sets off to rescue his lord and get revenge. Yeah. That's the premise.
And honestly, that premise alone just sounds amazing to me. And I have no doubt that From Software's attention to their stories, even in the cases of the ones prior to this game, they're going to be bringing in a narrative, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be incredible. The writing, I feel, is going to be really good.
What I find very interesting about this game is that it's being published by Activision.
Yeah. That is, It is interesting, because From Software, I feel like, has always done stuff in-house. Especially with the first 3 Souls games, and we know how popular those have become. We touched on earlier, that kind of combat has become almost a staple for specific type of games, like an action adventure, adding, those kind of like dodging mechanics, having a fluid system of combat, but with a punishing difficulty. And they're also going to be making some changes, from what I've gathered, to the death system in Sekiro. Whereas, because obviously anybody who's played a Souls or Bloodborne game knows that you will die often, because they don't really give you any room for error, especially with the boss fights.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, there's going to be a little bit, not necessarily leniency, but the ability to like your first death, the whole title, Shadows Die Twice, your first death in any certain scenario, I think you were able to kind of go back to where you died and kind of resume without having lost everything.
Okay.
Plus, my other main thing that I'm super excited about is the grappling hook prosthetic, because that adds vertical combat to basically a Souls type game.
Yeah.
Because in any Souls game, getting a downward strike on an enemy had always that was one of the highest damage dealers, but it was always really hard to do because most instances didn't really allow you to get into that kind of vantage on an enemy. But this way, you literally mid-combat can just pull yourself up onto a vantage point, and that changes up your entire approach to combat.
Yeah.
In addition to adding even more of a combo type of system into the combat system.
Yeah.
So there's counters and parries, and I think that combined with the ability to have vertical combat, get into a different vantage point, come down on your enemy, or escape to reposition, is going to add a lot more dynamics to all of the combat.
Yeah. How about you, Spector? What do you think? Have you seen the?
Yeah, no, I saw the E3 trailer for it. Like I said, I'm not a fan in general of the Souls games or Bloodborne, things like that. I mean, I'm a little bit more intrigued about this one just because of the couple of things. Something you mentioned, the aesthetic of it. I like the setting and some in the kind of the mystical elements of it. I like that. I like the idea that it might be a little bit more accessible of a game. Honestly, I didn't really get that. Was something that kind of turned me off of Dark Souls. I know there's some people that's a big reason why people love those games. I saw it more so as a system that was set up. I mean, going back to, I think what really turned me off in Dark Souls was Demon Souls. That was considered the first and the hardest, pretty much. Exactly. Yeah, it just was I get it. You want the game to be difficult, but it's not fun to keep going back and replaying the same hour, an hour or two of gameplay, and then to die to something cheap.
Yeah.
It's just like that. It felt like a frustration experiment to me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the controls feel really stiff. I know it's by design, but it's just it wasn't my thing. And I mean, I think in some ways it's been evolved with Bloodborne being kind of a little bit more finely tuned in terms of the difficulty level being a little bit more accessible. This one sounds like it might hit that sweet spot between being crushingly difficult and
rewardingly difficult.
Exactly. Yeah, you got to find something in between. So yeah, no, I mean, I don't know if I'll be picking it up, but I mean, I don't want to dislike the game or anything.
Yeah.
So I don't
I'm
know.
also curious. I feel they've always done a really good job with score.
Oh yeah,
the Souls games, the music in those games, classical scores that I think really. I don't know any other developer that really puts that kind of music in the game. You know what I mean? I feel like they all created that music for that game, as opposed, not to say obviously every game has its own music creator, but I feel like they kind of strayed away from the more modern music that current games have, which isn't necessarily a bad or a good thing, but I'm really excited, especially considering that I'm personally a big fan of classic Oriental music. And I think that if they put a spin on that because a good score for me is a huge point for any game.
Yeah.
Music is very important for me in any game.
Yeah. So what is your last one, Master Blaze?
My last one will be Mortal Kombat 11. Because...
fits with his fighting game stuff.
No, because, I mean, it came out of nowhere pretty much.
Oh, man.
And when I first saw that trailer, I was like, okay, this is exciting just because it's Mortal Kombat 11. And I wasn't, after Mortal Kombat 10, I wasn't sure how long we were going to have to wait.
Oh, yeah.
But then it's a custom 21 Savage song is just playing over this trailer.
Yeah.
And it's I mean, it's genius because they just grab a niche rapper who a decent enough. He's mainstream enough, but even if you didn't know who he was, the whole attitude of the game, and if that trailer, in addition to the fact that it looks incredible,
oh yeah,
I to jump in there for a second, I mean that really turned me off from it completely. Like, I'm not the biggest Mortal Kombat fan, but
Sure.
like the rap part of it, I mean, it's like they could have played like, you know, like polka music there and it'd been more fitting. It felt like just like, what the fuck is, like, this is so tonally like.
And
off.
I get that. I do get that. I just feel like I know why they did it, because I feel like it's definitely like the whole viral marketing thing. Because they grab an established, like, you know, niche rapper who has a dedicated following and is known, well, in addition to his name being 21 Savage, he's known for, like, you know, his very, like, aggressive lyrics. And I feel like they probably just tried to use that to implicate the savage nature of the game.
Well, the odd thing is that for Mortal Kombat 10, the song that they used to promote that game was System of a Down.
Yeah.
That was the band they used for
that was a great trailer.
Like, that was way better than... I'm not going to say that was way better than what we saw.
System of a Down would be a little bit more, I guess, in some ways more appropriate. Just at least it has a more unique sound to them. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's right.
And they synced it up really well. Like, it tonally really, like, I mean, and I like the story in Mortal Kombat as well. And so with the introduction of, you know, being able to play as Shao Kahn, plus they there was this woman, some transcendental being looking character that was also kind of just like real quick in the trailer. So I feel like she's either going to be, because Raiden looks like he's like on the dark side now. Because at the end of X, he basically murdered Shinnok, and like he's basically like Dark Raiden now.
Yeah.
And
which I look forward to that.
Yeah, I'm curious. And he has a weapon now. He has that, you know, it's either a bow staff or a Naginata. Or
I love Raiden. God, I love Raiden.
Yeah, I mean, Sub-Zero's my all-time fave, just because, like, that's the first time I ever played a Mortal Kombat game, it was 2, and I pull off a fatality on accident with Sub-Zero and ripped a man's skeleton clean out of his body, and after that, it was over. I mean, he was my go-to. But I'm excited because if the trailer is indicative of anything that's going to go on with actual gameplay, it looks amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, especially because I feel Soul Calibur 6 really has set the bar, like, for what makes a really, really fun, but still, like, a fun fighting game, but that still has enough depth where it's not, you know, nothing but auto combos.
Yeah.
And it's like you could button mash, but you can have even more fun by learning the systems because they simplified it. And I think ever since, especially because Arc System Works, maker of BlazBlue, Guilty Gear, and especially with Dragon Ball FighterZ, I think is where the pivotal point happened, where auto combos became a natural inclination in all future fighting games, where you can press the same button multiple times to initiate a combo, but you still have the ability to combine them in order to get variance on those combos.
I mean, I wouldn't say that because, I mean, mind you, NetherRealm has done a very good job with all of their fighting games. Injustice and Mortal Kombat. Injustice is my favorite next to Soul Calibur. Injustice is my favorite fighting game. But I think that's more of like Marvel vs. Capcom, which, why? That game has problems, but but I get your point. But yeah, how about you, Spector? Do you play Mortal Kombat or like?
No, really, honestly, the only fighting game I enjoy is Tekken.
Tekken is solid.
Tekken's always been my favorite.
Tekken is definitely the most realistic because of the 1-to-1 ratio.
Have you ever done shots in Tekken?
What's that?
Shots in Tekken.
Shots in Tekken.
Shots in Tekken. Oh, dude, me and my friends would go ahead and we would play Tekken, and if whoever lost, you would have to take a shot. If you lost the match,
you drank really, but
I don't. I mean, I'll take a few shots, but I don't drink like that. But my friends, oh man, we play shots in Tekken all the time.
But yeah, no, I'd be down for that. But I know I love Tekken. I flirted with Soul Calibur for a bit. I mean, I don't have anything against the game, but Tekken's always been my thing. Mortal Kombat, I got nothing against. Like I said, I'm not really a fighting game guy,
Sure.
I play Tekken, but I mean, I never at a competitive level.
Yeah. I just kind of dabble in it. I play for its story, and mind you, Mortal Kombat has set the bar for that.
Tekken's 1-to-1 fighting ratio, where each button controls a limb. It is the purest fighting game. I will give Tekken that. It is the purest form of fighting game because there is flashy stuff in it, but it literally is a 1-to-1 thing. Every move you make is almost it's I think the most realistic simulation of what an actual fight could be outside of maybe playing a UFC game.
Yeah.
And just as a quick honorable mention, Dead or Alive 6 also has my interest, but I'm going to wait for that one to come out because I love the cinematic aspect of the Dead or Alive combat system. But there's obviously, I feel, some improvements to be made, and I was actually surprised that it was because Dead or Alive 5, it's almost as long as Soul Calibur. It's not had a game in years.
But so Spector. Let's go ahead. You're last but not least. What do you got for me, my man?
Definitely not the least. I guess I was going to kind of segue from you were talking about From Software here. When I think of From Software, I guess you can say I'm kind of more old school to some extent. When I think of From Software, I think of Armored Core. Before we had Souls, it was all about Armored Core, and boy, did they make a lot of Armored Core games.
My God!
All the way back to PlayStation 1, I can't even remember what they're up to. I know it's like it's almost over 20 at this point with all the spin-offs and everything. So we don't have an official announcement of an Armored Core 6 just yet, but we have as close to an unofficial announcement as you can possibly get.
Yeah, because you're bringing up Armored Core, but I don't see anything.
Exactly. Yeah, there's nothing officially been announced yet, but we have. We do know that From Software, this is as recent as a few days ago, has announced that there are 2 games completely unannounced, that are still in development. I think it's safe to assume one of those is Armored Core, because you take that bit of news, combine it with what they said before when they were asked about Armored Core and the future of the series, what's going on, if we haven't heard about this in a while. It's been a while since Verdict Day, which was the last one that came out. They said they're not done with the series yet. They want to continue to add on to it. So you take that bit of news, combine it with what they're saying. It strongly suggests...
We can infer,
I'm assuming one of those is probably a Bloodborne sequel. And
I hope so.
And then the other one has to be Armored Core.
I would love, honestly, I would love to play Armored Core. I've dabbled in Armored Core.
I've never played them, but I know of it. I know it's like a mech game.
Yeah, I think it would be right up your alley because it has a lot of the things that you kind of mentioned. It's kind of funny you mentioned that From Software is known for. Killer soundtrack. All the Armored Core games, fantastic soundtrack. In fact, they did this. It's like the number one thing on my Christmas list. This huge box set of every Armored Core game, all their soundtracks. This giant thing for like $300, and it's totally worth it because their soundtracks are amazing.
Oh yeah,
they're known. They're brutally difficult games. They're almost Dark Souls-esque.
Really?
You spend, but what's fun about it though is not so much just dabbling in the combat side of it. It's the thinking and planning that goes into building your AC. And I spent hours upon hours just in the garage looking like, okay, if I put this on, like there's a trade-off in cost.
I do like customization aspects, like where it actually makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference. If you
put enough thought into it.
Exactly. It makes a huge difference, and you can just spend hours thinking like, okay, well, if I put this missile rack on my back, then I move slower, or this or that. And then as the series progressed, they added all these new features on, like you could discard weapons, and you can move faster than, and stuff like that. All this crazy stuff. It has a kind of a Dark Souls-esque story in some ways, because it's very... The universe is very it's almost cyberpunk-esque. It's in the distant future. It's very the world has kind of been destroyed.
Dystopian.
It's very dystopian, and you're essentially a mercenary fighting for these rival corporations. But the emphasis is more so on the lore and the side things, not so much on the main narrative. Kind of Dark Souls-esque in that way, where it's not like this one main story.
It's like the stories for up to you to kind of figure out and piece together as you go along.
In some ways, it is. Yeah, and a lot of the games have kind of a
like atmospheric storytelling.
In some ways, yeah, it's kind of a non-linear story. What I would hope they would do for a new game, though, is because the series has so much baggage, it's been around for so long, I kind of think they need to have like another soft reboot, for an Armored Core 6. Maybe just kind of bring it all back and say like, okay, we're kind of starting the universe anew, or they've done that before, actually.
Wow.
There's been so many games, but just kind of maybe.
Well, it's kind of like what God of War did.
Exactly. Yeah. Sort of a soft.
They called it. They called it God of War, but basically they're just starting from scratch in a sense, but still touch back on what's already happened.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what I'm not saying. Dumb the game down. I'm just saying maybe make it a little bit more approachable for somebody that's new to it and coming in. Because if you go into games like like 5 and 4 and all, it can be kind of a little overwhelming. Yeah, no, I like to say, this isn't, and it's sort of cheating because it's not really technically an announced game, but we can anticipate it's
of course.
It's an anticipated game.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. But my next game is one that has been officially announced. So and that would be Doom Eternal.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, follow up to 2016.
Not Diablo, right?
Not Diablo.
Not Diablo.
No. Yeah,
you know that mobile game.
You screwed that up last time. Big time you screwed that
You
up.
know that mobile game. No, that's Doom.
But
What do you mean?
yeah, no, Doom Eternal. We have a lot to go on with it. We have, like I said, we have a full gameplay demo that's been shown off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I said, 2016's Doom was fantastic.
Oh, I mean, it's so good. So good.
You know, I know it doesn't get a lot of praise, but even the multiplayer was fun.
I didn't play the multiplayer. I just went through the story, but even the story was good. I thought it was such a cool idea, like to basically because the previous Doom games, I mean, even with Doom 3, like the story wasn't so developed, but you still have that amazing, visceral, fast-paced combat. It's just in the modern version.
Yeah, but Doom 2016 is just so good.
It is
fantastic.
Plus all the secrets they stuffed in there, like the secret Doom levels, like where you
tons of
oh my god, yes,
yeah. So, but yeah, no, it looks amazing. This is
another game, and the new one's gonna have a grappling hook. I feel like that's the thing this year. Like
grappling hook. Oh my god, I love it.
But we can say with pretty much absolute certainty it's coming out this year. Bethesda has called this the year of Doom. It's the 25th anniversary of Doom.
Yeah.
So
has to be.
Yeah, it's that's probably my most anticipated game for this year that we know it for sure.
I'm sure the multiplayer will be nuts on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I hope they like I said, I enjoyed it last time. I hope they make it even better this time. But my most anticipated game that's coming out this year that we know for sure is coming out, almost for sure that's coming out this year.
Yeah.
Last but not least, I know it's a game that we are all looking forward to varying degrees. Cyberpunk 2077.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah, this is a game that's had a long and storied development history already. Teased, I think, back in 2013.
Oh yeah,
and really we heard almost nothing about it for years and years.
No.
And then it came back with a bang this year with a full gameplay demo that was shown off. We got, which I mean, positive and negatives. I've commented on it before, and I'll comment a lot more before it comes out. But I mean, the amount of love and attention that's being put in this game by CD Projekt Red is astounding, and the fact that they have the original creator of the role-playing game that inspired it, Michael Pondsmith, is directly involved in the development as well too. That's fantastic.
And I'm just excited simply because I love cyberpunk in general, like as a genre.
Oh yeah,
and the fact that like it has I mean, I'm a huge fan of 80s retrofuturism, like as just an aesthetic concept, and like I feel like this is just going to be like a beautiful fusion of those two aesthetic aspects, as well as the fact that CD Projekt Red, I mean, they did The Witcher. I mean. They know how to tell a story, and the combat I feel is going to be refreshing, but still familiar because it's a first person, as far as I can understand, like from the trailers that I saw. So it's going to be like an open world first person cyberpunk world that you live in, almost akin to like Deus Ex. Like I feel like they're going to they're going to probably take some pages from Deus Ex's book and how the game mechanics work. And maybe just expound upon that as only they could.
And if it ends up being just kind of another offshoot kind of Deus Ex style game,
I wouldn't even care.
That'd be fantastic.
It's just like the new setting and the new characters and like everything else that's involved with it.
I mean, yeah.
And the soundtrack, I'm super pumped for.
Oh, yeah.
I am so excited.
I mean, like, for me, like, I've only dabbled a little bit into Deus Ex, and Deus Ex is definitely fun. I can see why Spector loves it.
I played Human Revolution a good degree. That would be the most experience.
I definitely need to spend more time with it, but like what really excites me is, honestly, for me, it's kind of the developer behind it, where that, like, CD Projekt Red, honestly, is I think one of the best, if not the best developer today. There's a lot of developers that have like kind of fallen off the wagon. Bethesda, I think, is kind of losing their
just a bit.
They had a lot of bad press recently. Yeah.
I understand that, and I mean, again, like, but even so, like, there are things that Bethesda, like, even with Skyrim and like past games, like their glitches and stuff, and then like other publishers and stuff, like they. Like Activision and EA and even Ubisoft, like they're all like, depends on who you ask, but some of them only care about their bottom line, and other people, that's mostly what they care about, and depending on which games you play from them. But one of the things that makes CD Projekt Red so good is that they're very transparent with their community, because during even last year, when microtransaction was like loot boxes and everything. Loot boxes were in single player games like Shadow of War, Overwatch, and everything like that. Microtransactions are not kind of taken over.
Yep.
Everyone's going like, are there going to be loot boxes and microtransactions in Cyberpunk 2077? And they're like, oh, we only leave that for the greedy. Like, they put out a tweet of that, and they like that was a jab at like EA and Activision, going like, yeah,
I didn't know that. That's awesome though.
Like,
Yeah.
like, and like it was. They even put the whole Patrick Stewart like as Picard. Picard. When he's like the normal, like the meme where it's
he's just a face slap.
yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So like,
well, I feel like
it's fantastic.
Yeah, if you make a game that's amazing, you don't need microtransactions.
And I love The Witcher. I love The Witcher.
I still actually have to play Witcher
like
3.
The Witcher is.
I've heard nothing but good things.
It is so good, and what made Witcher even better is that all of their DLC outside of the expansions, which they're like $25 each. You could, or it was like $25 each, or you get the season pass, something like that. But like the expansions are the only thing that you have to spend money for, and these expansions are massive.
Yeah,
so like they're worth your money.
Right. I don't mind buying an expansion of a game.
But
but when if you either need to buy, like, if it's either pay to win, or if you basically or you give me half a story and then make me buy the rest of it piecemeal, like Asura's Wrath would be like the prime example. Like that's garbage. Like you're selling an incomplete game solely so that you can get more money, because if someone wants to know the rest of the story, then they're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Even though they already bought a full game. Yeah. You should get a full game upon purchase, and then extras are another story.
Yeah, and that's what they did with Witcher 3, is that they put out like all like, mounts and weapons and customization things. All of it was free. Every single part of it was free, and they kept throwing them out and just kept going, here you go, 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 here you go. And like it's so fantastic. I'm really looking forward to this, and there's not a lot of like Cyberpunk games that I personally have played, so like this.
There's just not a lot.
It's not this huge genre.
No, but like
it's more of a film and book.
Yeah, but
genre.
like even regardless, like I haven't really delved into like Deus Ex and
that would probably be the prime example.
Oh yeah, of course. But like this game definitely intrigues me with what we've seen in the trailers and everything, and I honestly I think we're going to be seeing like gameplay, and hopefully do we have a release date for that game? I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that's that. Yeah, because I knew like that and Ghost of Tsushima, which are like my pretty much top two anticipations that don't have dates. Mm-hmm. But it's like, yeah, I mean, everything I've seen, like and like that, like just the cinematography of like how the trailer is, like I'm just so excited to see combat. That is what I want to see next. Like I want to see how they do, because it's obviously going to be like a first person, and I have no doubt there'll be guns. But I feel like they're going to also go the Deus Ex route, but even like I want them to put a lot of focus into like unarmed combat. Yeah. I feel like that would kind of help set it apart, in addition to like, bringing in people who just don't want to play another, FPS in an open world. Yeah. Because it's going to be more than that. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's going to have so much replayability. I feel like they're going to take the best parts of like what makes Far Cry a good game. Yeah. And what makes a game like what was the other one we mentioned?
We've talked about
Detroit.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to basically be kind of like a combination of like what the great storytelling aspects of Detroit and the numerous of like the ability to play through numerous times with a different result, but have that awesome open world FPS aspect with even more bells and whistles that Far Cry has.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else, Spector? I know, like, this is the game you and I have talked about, and you're the one who's been banging this drum for, like, ever. So, like...
Yeah, no, like I said, I'm looking forward to seeing more footage about it and hearing more about the game. I mean, they've been pretty transparent with it, most recently about what it's going to be like. But yeah, no, I just want to see more of it. Hopefully, a release window revealed sometime soon. But yeah, no, I can't wait.
This looks so good. Do you guys have any honorable mentions of other games that we haven't talked about? Just some honorable
Devil
mentions?
May Cry 5. Mainly just because it's been forever since the new Devil May Cry, and this one, both visually and combat-wise, looks amazing.
Game we mentioned already a little before, the Medieval remaster.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully that's sometime 2019.
Yeah.
We didn't really hear much about it at all this year.
Yeah.
Even though it was announced, I think, originally in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully we get a release date this year, and hopefully, ideally, it would also include Medieval 2 as well in some capacity.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. And my honorable mention would be Far Cry New Dawn. I had so much fun with Far Cry 5. This continues that story, and we saw the trailer for that at the Game Awards, and I definitely look forward to that. But yeah, I mean, like honestly, there's a lot of the games that both of you have said I'm looking forward to myself. Mortal Kombat 11, Devil May Cry 5, Cyberpunk 2077, Sekiro, Ghost of Tsushima, that kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of games that we're overlapping.
Oh yeah, well it's just because a good game. They all look like they're going to be fantastic. So it's like, what are you going to do?
Exactly. But yeah, I think that's it. Do you have Devil May Cry anything else from you guys? No,
I think
awesome. All right, well that is awesome. Those are our 10 plus games that
it's hard to pick when there's so many choices.
Oh, I know. But that's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing. When
we're being spoiled this upcoming year, it would seem.
Honestly, this is one of the best times to be a gamer.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, if you go ahead and let us know what you guys think. Are there any games that we haven't mentioned that you guys are excited for? Please let us know in the comments. But yeah, guys, got anything else for me?
That's about it.
Safe travels.
Safe travels, yeah. Well, I mean, kind of in a way, something to anticipate. I think goes without saying we're going to get some kind of console announcement this year. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of the biggest thing that we're the most, if you want to add it, these are all games, but honestly, one of the things that we're most anticipated for is what are these new consoles? Why is PlayStation pulling out of E3? They have never done this before, and they're not doing a PSX. They're not doing it PSX for last year, and there's not one coming out for 2019. So why are they pulling out of all the biggest gaming convention? And it seems odd, which will probably come back. And
maybe they're doing it because it draws.
That's what I mean. Is that they have
by doing that, they don't have to actually say anything, and then it'll just start to get people's the train moving.
By them pulling out of E3, which mind you, that worries me a bit because now you're kind of giving free rein to Xbox and the other competitors. But again, this has to be a sign that we're about to announce the PS5. Yeah. So at least announce it. I don't think it's coming out in 2019. No, I don't see it. I would be surprised if it does.
I wouldn't rule it out.
But we'll definitely come back to this topic. But I think that's the most anticipated thing from PlayStation that we can anticipate from 2019. Absolutely. Wouldn't you agree, Spector?
I agree.
At least the announcement of it.
Oh, yeah, most definitely Master Blaze. But yeah, all right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for watching. That was everything. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys go ahead and haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Press that little bell icon down there. So that way, anytime we put up a video, we put up a video. You can also follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Brotherhood of Geeks. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Dualshock'd BOG. That's the name of this podcast, BOG. Spector, anywhere that people can follow you?
Twitter, Spector_0451.
Awesome. And how about you, Master Blaze?
Yes, I do have a YouTube channel, Gonsqua, all lowercase GONSQUA, and I also have a SoundCloud, Venom Enemy, 2 words spelled regular, where I produce music.
Ooh, funsies. Mm-hmm. Awesome, Master Blaze. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm Brett J. Rasmussen. That's Spector.
Master Blaze.
And that's Master Blaze. And as always, live to play. Play together. We'll see you guys next time.